Well, it started for a minute and quit. I see there's a little bit of gas draining down the side right here. Hope we don't have a cracked tank. Let's get the gas back out of this thing and see what's going on with it. Okay, so we know the engine popped for a second and then it wouldn't start after that, so we know we're getting spark. And we had a fuel leak, so I really don't suspect the carburetor itself right now, but we do need to get the carburetor off of here. I want to get a look at the fuel line, because I have a feeling that's where the fuel leak may be coming from. So let's go ahead and take the carburetor out. Very simple. These nuts right here are 8mm, and I like to save everything in my good old magnetic dish. Let's go ahead and pull these off right here to set these aside to get at the carburetor. Now at this point, the carburetor comes off real easy. Go ahead and pop that fuel line right off right there. All right, so the easiest way I know of to get this throttle linkage off of here is to go ahead and stick a screwdriver in there and push back the butterfly right there. That'll tilt that down a little bit, and then just take a pair of needle nose pliers or your finger. Now on some models, you may have to take this whole thing out right here. Be careful not to break this because, as you can see, this is the body of the unit, so you definitely don't want to break that. But on this one, it's no problem at all. The carburetor comes right out. It just does that. Now we have good access to the fuel line right here. So looking at the fuel line, it actually does look okay, but I still suspect the fuel line and not a cracked gas tank. So what I've done here is I've made a rubber stopper for the gas tank, and I'm going to put some compressed air in there. Now keep in mind, I'm only going to use maybe 1 PSI. I don't want to damage anything. So what we're going to do is plug up one end of the fuel line and put the air in there, and then we can rub our finger. Hear that? It's a change in tone. So that air is coming out. Oh yeah, right there. Yep, we got a bad fuel line. So what I'm going to do before I pull this fuel line out is I want to get rid of all this dirt and debris inside of here, but I don't want to pull the fuel line out first because all that will wind up in the gas tank. But I do need to plug this up, so we'll stuff a paper towel in here and blow all that out to clean that up, and we'll be right back. All right, got this cleaned up pretty good, and it's good enough for who it's for. Now if this part right here happens to come off on you, it just goes right here, just like so. All right, so let's go ahead and get that fuel filter out. It doesn't make any difference on the fuel line since it's already junk, so just take a screwdriver and push it through just like so, and reach in there and grab the fuel line. And just pull the whole thing through. Very simple. So in this new one right here, I'm just going to put a dab of silicone grease on that. And that'll help that go into the tank much easier. Just kind of bend this any which way it needs to go to get it to go in there. Worry about the tab direction later. So what I meant earlier by tab direction is this right here. See how it's got like a square 90-degree notch? That fits into what's molded into the body right here. Now some models might be a little bit different. You might have a tab going this way or whichever way, but these usually do have a direction, so pay attention to that. So I've grabbed it from the inside with a pair of pliers and very gently pull it and use the screwdriver to help it. There it is. All right, so I've gotten a hold of it with my screwdriver. Let me try to grab it with some pliers and pull it out. Just like so. Slip that back on there. Now the way I've got this thing angled, that fuel filter needs to kind of sit at the bottom corner of the tank on the opposite side of the fuel filler. That looks about right. Here's a picture of the original one and where the location of that one was at, just on the other side of the fuel filler. We're just about done here. Let's go ahead and get our carburetor back on. Slip our fuel line back on, just like so. Put this throttle linkage on the same way you took it off. I'm going to use a screwdriver to push that butterfly back, like so. and that thing just falls on there by itself, basically. By the way, I'm glad to see that this carburetor has both our high and low and idle adjustments. Some of the models don't have both the high and the low. I think they have one or the other, but I'm glad to see that this one has both. Certainly makes it a lot easier to adjust. Go ahead and slip our pieces back on. This piece here can only go one way. If it doesn't look like it's fitting right, it's because it isn't. That's right. Tighten up our nuts. New air filter. And we're ready for a test. Yeah, it's back to its old self.
Yes.
That's all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.